In this video, I want to get us started for the week by talking about tendons. So we've talked a little bit about tendons before, and intuitively, I think you understand what they do. But just to recap, suppose we're considering the action of some muscle, like maybe the gastrocs, like this. Muscles generate force, and of course, we'll go into much more detail on how they do that in the coming weeks. But muscles attach to bones via tendons. They're like, you can think of them as being like a really strong, stiff, but springy cable that connects a bone, like in this case the calcaneus bone right here, to a muscle, like the gastrocnemius muscle. Now, I maybe drew this tendon a little bit longer than it is in reality, and some tendons are actually quite short. So for example, the quadriceps tendon, which connects, as you might guess, the quadriceps muscles up here to the patella, is very short. It's maybe like that long. But tendons are these extraordinarily strong, almost cable spring-like structures that can handle loads of up to, in the case of your Achilles, 12 times your body weight when you run or jump. So there's an immense amount of force that goes into this. And the type of mechanical loading, and you know what I mean by this, that they experience is almost entirely tensile loading, in that the muscle pulls like this, that puts tension onto the tendon, and it stretches out. So tendons are, like other parts of the body, living structures, and they do have some blood supply, but not as much as a bone. So there's a really clever way to take a look at what the blood supply of a tendon looks like. And what you do is you get a tendon from an animal or a cadaver or something, and then you inject dye into the arteries, and you see where it goes. So this is I think this is a posterior tibial tendon. It sort of runs down the inside of the ankle, so the medial side of the ankle. And this is the tendon here. And you can see that some of it is, as they say, vascularized, meaning has some blood supply. But the blood from here has to kind of diffuse out into the tendon to, say, get to a point over here. So tendons are living tissues, but their ability to repair themselves is maybe not as strong as with, say, like a muscle, which is very, very well vascularized. But tendons do suffer damage, and they do repair themselves, and they do so using the blood supply. Now, what's interesting about the blood supply of a tendon is that areas of tendons that get injured tend to be the areas with poor blood supply. So, for example, the midpoint of the Achilles tendon, the Achilles kind of comes up like this and then goes out. This is a posterior view. So the calcaneus is like down here. This is the insertion of the Achilles, and then you've got the calf muscles up here. The place that tends to get injured is right there in the middle, most commonly, and that also tends to be the place with the worst blood supply. What's interesting, though, is that when you look at people who have tendon injuries, like chronic tendinopathy, sometimes erroneously called tendinitis, we'll go into detail on why that's maybe not the best term, they have something that doctors call Neo-Vascularization. And that's new vascular blood supply. So if you look at a tendon that is damaged from overuse and has been damaged from overuse for a while, you'll see a lot of new blood vessel growth. And that may have to do with the repair process, but it also may be a pathological response that's causing pain and continued disruption in ability to, say, exercise. So we don't really know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something that's worth considering when you're thinking about what is the response of a tendon to mechanical loading. The problem seems to come from when these blood vessels grow into an area, you get nerve endings that grow alongside them. And those nerve endings, of course, cause pain. So no one really knows whether this is a good thing, a necessary part of healing, or if this gets out of hand and that's bad. But the takeaway is that tendons are these super strong, springy cables that connect muscles to bone, and they are living structures in that they have a blood supply.